Hey guys, welcome back to the Tutoring YouTube channel. My name is CL and today I'm going to be covering how to approach SAT math word problems. So with these four questions, I've tried to get a representative sample of what they're going to ask you on the SAT, and let's go over each question and what they're asking. So the first question is asking you to solve for a specific value, and in this case it's talking about salads. Number two is asking you to create your own equation given two different variables. Three is asking you to explain a certain value in the equation and what it means to the overall problem. And number four asks you to combine both algebra and creating your own equation in order to solve for how much each person pays for the meal. So without further ado, let's begin. Okay, so starting off with the first sentence of the first question, we get two pieces of important information. Salad sell for $6.50 each and drinks sell for $2 each. Now, the next sentence tells us about how much money the food truck makes in that day, and they make a total of $836.5. And that's through selling 209 items, which is a combination of salads and drinks. So what I'm going to do right now is set up a system of equations. So the first equation I'm going to have is the revenue. So I'm going to set that equal to 836 and a half. And then on the other side, I'm going to put the price of the salad and the price of the drinks, plus variables for each, S and D. And now I do this because I want to make sure that I account for how many salads and drinks that they sold. So that's why I do that. And then the next equation is going to be the total number of items sold. So it's going to be 209 is equal to S plus D. Now, for the second equation, what we should do is isolate a single variable. Since we're looking for salads, what we want to replace in the first equation is D. So now I'm going to solve the second equation in terms of D. And now I get 209 minus S is equal to D. Now what I'm going to do is plug it back all into the original equation, the revenue equation. So that's 836 and a half is equal to 6.5s plus 2 times 209 minus s. And then if I distribute that over, I get 836 and a half is equal to 6.5s plus 418 minus 2s. And then let's combine like terms and subtract over that 418. So what I'm left with is 418.5 is equal to 4.5s. And now what I do is divide by 4.5. Let me just bring up my calculator. And I get 93 salads. So that's how I would solve. Um, Usually when they give you multiple variables, you want to isolate or create a system of equations and isolate a variable in order to substitute it back into one of the two equations that you, you modeled. So number two is asking us about creating an equation. So the two variables we get are M and P. So M represents the number of text messages per hour sent by Armand, and P represents the number of text messages sent per hour by Tyrone. Now, what I'm going to do is multiply them, so I get the number of texts sent by each person. So Armand texts for 5 hours at a rate of M, so it's going to be 5N for Armand. And Tyrone, on the other hand, texts for 4 hours and sends P text messages per hour. So in the end, I'm just going to get 5M plus 4P, which is choice C. Now, the reason why we don't combine these is because we don't know whether or not M is equal to P. Since they didn't specifically state it in the problem, we're not going to assume anything. We're just going to leave it as it is. So yeah, C is the answer. Now for number three, we have a quite a lengthy word problem, and what we're being asked to evaluate is the meaning of a certain value in the equation. So I'm just going to highlight some background info, and in this case, the function is going to model how many phones that need to be repaired. So that's going to be modeled by P is equal to 108 minus 23D. And D represents the number of days that she's worked, and P is the number of phones left. And now they're asking us for the value of 108. So in order to isolate 108 by itself, we need to remove that minus 23D term. And the way that we could do that is just plug in 0. So when you plug in 0 for D, that actually represents Kathy working 0 days. So if she worked 0 days, then we can infer that at the beginning of the week, she has that many phones to start with. So if we plug that in, the negative 23 crosses out, and we're left with P of 0 is equal to 108. So from the definition of the function that they gave us, we know that P is the number of phones left, and she starts each week with 100 phones to fix. So yeah, the answer is B. Now the next one is going to be talking about um, combining algebra um, and creating an equation. So the first thing we need to do is combine the price of Ken and Paul's sandwich, since they're asking us about splitting bills. So we need to find the sum. So if the price of Paul's sandwich was $1 more than the price of Ken's sandwich, and Ken's sandwich was X dollars, then we can say that Paul's sandwich was X plus $1. So now we add those two together, X plus 1, and we get 2X plus 1. Now, they split the cost of the sandwiches evenly, so we just divide that by 2 in order to calculate how much each person paid for the meal. And then we get 1x plus 0.5. So then now what they ask us is to apply the 20% tip. So if you're going to be paying a tip, you're going to be adding to the total number or the amount that you're paying. So what you do is multiply by 1.2, which is equivalent to 120%, which makes sense because the tip is added on to the original price. So you're actually paying 120% more. So if we if we multiply it 1.2 and distribute it over, we get 1.2x plus 0.6. And that's it. If you guys have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments below. Also, if you would like to be a student in Care Tutoring or become a tutor, then click on the link in the description and sign up with using the form below. That's all I have for today, and see you guys next time.